On the rally. Yes. No, we're asking consensus to close the list. Okay, so the next person, please. All right.
My name is Yilmaz. I'll be very quick. Just about the name, I think pirate is not a good name because, you know, kids love pirates and, you know, there's the Pirates of Caribbean, everybody loves, you know, it's kind of cool name. And just a quick suggestion would be what they use maybe like to do their work. We can use like a rally against the axis of evil or something that kind. And also because, you know, this movement is about kind of mainly about economic issue, even though it's more than that. And we are discussing many economic topics and like we are trying to give messages. I was going to propose later on maybe we should have a discussion group or a working group for just, you know, economics and, you know, we can do a, you know, maybe blog or, you know, suggesting go through the working group and then we can come like endorse it at General Assembly and put it up on the website or, you know, for the group. So.
We think that you should like to, you know, put on a workshop or something.
Yeah,
Oh. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can add it to the whiteboard. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Tony.
Yeah, just on the thing of names, I'm also in the pirates a cool faction. Like if we're going to have pirates in the name, pirates were rebels. The pirates in the 18th century were very anti-corporate. And even the pirates in Somalia now, so if we're going to have pirates in the name, I think it should be an anti-corporate pirates tour, like we're the top pirates, and we've bought them, taken over, making Wolf a plank, all that stuff. Just more generally on the question of language, I mean, I'm not wanting to get into a huge debate, but I think something else people should consider is language can be violent, but politeness and silence can be very, very violent. But some sort of tricks with language where, you know, some man in a suit signing a bit of paper or pressing a button on a computer, he lives in a world of politeness, a world where no one raises their voices, and him pressing a button or signing a bit of paper could mean 11 million babies starve to death.
Point clarification.
In Germany at the moment there is a pirate party that is actually vying for power, and it's us.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Kookaburra. Okay. Next, Shelley.
How you doing? Why don't we just call them what they are, which is corporate pirate lunatics? Because that's what they, yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I think like what's important is that we just vote on a name. The other thing is I'm in support of the two speakers for Occupy Sydney. I think they'll make the rally good, vibrant, and keep it controlled. The third thing I need is clarification. We discussed in the working group this morning that we may have to use a shop for power, but I'm not sure, but we need some funds for that.
Thank you very much, Shelley. The speakers list is now closed on this issue. We're putting in motion for... We have two more people now. All right. Okay, yes, please. What's your name? Liam. With an N? With an N.
Right, sorry, spent my entire day in meetings today, so that's why I'm late. So forgive me if I come in at this late juncture. But it strikes me if this is the space in the meeting, in the General Assembly, to talk about the march, we should talk about the march, which is, I don't really care what we call the top 1% of Australian society that owns and controls most of the wealth. I'm open to suggestions, but I am concerned that we do try and make some decision about marching. Now, I know last night at the General Assembly there was some general decision made to have a march on Saturday, and I think this is important because I think we're talking about trying to keep the occupation going and really reaching out to people and building on the fantastic support that we've already had. I really do think on Saturday, when we're at a big size, hopefully it'll be bigger than most of the things that have happened during the week, that we should really march down to George Street where it's going to be really...
Clarification. By march, do you just mean the tour? Like the corporate...
Yeah, but march tour, whatever you want to call it. Like, I think we should I propose it's not just some little kind of excursion that we might do during the week. I think that the march, and this is how it was envisaged, I think last night in the General Assembly, and certainly how we discussed it today in the working group about Saturday's events, was that we actually have a mass march of people away from Occupy Sydney to go down to George Street, at least some, I don't really care where we go on George Street, we can visit a few corporate targets, whether you want to call them parasites, scumbags, lunatics, whatever, don't care. And that we try and appeal to people when George Street will be very busy and to come back and join us and get involved. And I think these public displays really help build Occupy Sydney, and I think really give people a sense of commitment and empowerment for being on a march and things like that I think we need. And I think we will keep people around the side of the occupation longer if we have activities like the march planned, as well as the bands and music and speaking and being greeted by all of the people that we've talked about lining up to do that. I really think we should march. And if we need to have a separate discussion about the march, I think we should do that. Otherwise, I'm moving that we march and that we might target 3 scumbags. There's also, I should draw your attention, going to be some chilling. Sorry, can I get an extension? Yeah.
Blocks on the extension.
Alright, well I think we should have a march and then we should address that as a topic if we need to. I think talking about the title of what we call people is a diversion, and we should talk about having a march and how we're going to implement that, because that was a decision last night. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. You have to really stick to the time. If there's no consensus, there is no march. There is actually no march. Let me point of clarification. There was initially, it is actually a tour of the corporate scumbags. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're marching, which is different. 2 clarification points.
I just want to point out that last Saturday we did have almost 2,000 people, and we are hoping that we're going to double or triple that. And I'm just thinking logistically, how are we going to march all those people in this space? So we should kind of stay here. We can point at the buildings and talk about them as well. That's just a suggestion too.
Point of clarification.
Yeah, last night at the GA meeting, we voted for a corporate pirates tour. We didn't vote for march. Like, I'm not saying this with opposition, but I'm standing by what the GA voted for. I think we can march in here. Logistically, hasn't been time to put in a Schedule 1. It would essentially mean because we don't have a Schedule 1. If we did march, we could still march down Martin Place if that's what the further proposal is, but I think we should just stick to what we've got and propose a march later on.
Just point of clarification, there is no difference between a march and a tour, like we're walking on...
A couple of points of clarification.
They called it a tour in Melbourne and it was a march all around, so... It's semantics.
Isn't that a point of clarification, Tim?
Can we leave this?
Okay, well the suggestion has been made to actually put through a working group for the title of the discussion for this particular event called the Corporate Scumbag. Do we move?
Working group tomorrow, 8 a.m.
A working group tomorrow at 8 a.m. Nice and early. Consensus,
We're all
please.
waking up at 6.
We're
I'm
moving
not.
towards...
I'm not waking up at 6. What is that?
Okay, 8
I did not
a.m.
agree
is
to
out.
that. I'm blocking that.
How about 10
That's
a.m.?
shit house. No. Nah.
There was a working group that met today. They didn't decide on a group.
Who said we're waking up at 6?
My point of clarification is, given that there's a semantic difference between march and tour, and that we had a working group that went for 2 hours a day to try and come up with some things, we should probably try and make a decision here in the General Assembly, because it'd be good to have some idea about what we're going to tell people is going to happen on Saturday, so that we can actually enliven them a bit. So that's my point of clarification. And another working group will not help. We should make a decision.
Alright, if we had time for her to give 2 points of clarification, we have time for
clarification here. I think that due to the discussion on the scumbag tour or not the scumbag or 1%, I think we have to work in the work group. What's going to be the name? If it's going to be a scumbag or it's going to be 1% of pirate or whatever? Who's going to lead this group and who's going to study or get the information of the practices of every side of the actual tour, and the periodicity, if it's going to be weekly or just for the rally. So all those things has to be worked out in a work group, right?
Yes, next point of clarification.
Guys, I don't think we should really use words like hate. They hate us, we need to love them. Give me time, all right? Give me time. I only spoke for 10 seconds, I very rarely speak here, all right? Now, when you call someone a scumbag, you're putting them on their defense. The people that we're talking to, the people that we're not trying to sell green left papers to, they agree with us. If we go along calling them scumbags, we're finished.
Thank you very much, Silas. Very good. Next point of clarification? No? We have one last speaker.
Yeah, hi. My name is Anita. I'll be very quick. I just want to say that I think that this is an amazing opportunity to actually spread this message. We don't need to call them scumbag parasites. I do agree, that that's what they are. But we can just call them corporate executives and explain. Well, that's giving a judgment. We don't need to judge them. We need to put other people in the position of judging them. So if we just describe what these people do, that's more than plenty. And the more neutral we are in our description, I think the more...
Your coin, we won't change.
Thank you very much. Do we have the consensus? We have one more who wants to speak. Anyone else? Okay, one more, two more.
Hi everyone. A guy came by today who's working on a project that is bottles that are made out of plant material, and he wants to launch it on Saturday. And I didn't know what to say, so I just thought I'd propose it to everyone so think about it. Yeah.
Could you say that again?
Yeah, cool.
Could you say it again, Narissa?
A guy is launching a business where he makes bottles out of plant material, so biodegrades.
Yeah, cool.
Him and 4 other people are working on biodegradable stuff. Okay, cool. Thanks.
We have to, okay, do we have a consensus on the closing of the speaking list on this topic, please?
Yes!
Okay, the speaking list is closed, apologies. Alright, now we're moving on whether or not we need to achieve consensus firstly about the speakers. We've got the Indigenous welcome. Shane or Mark? Shane? Sorry? Oh. I understand. Shane and Mark. Do we have a consensus on these two people? Shane is the one who is he's doing the welcome, and Mark is introducing the speaker. He's lining the person up. Excellent, very good. This person here is the Indigenous welcome. Do we have a consensus on these two speakers? Question is passed. No? Yes, and is anyone standing aside? Blocks. Point of clarification. Who is Shane? Good question.
Shane Phillips is a Redfern original.
Oh yeah. I think he's sitting down
Shane
there
Phillips is a Redfern Indigenous activist.
Maybe not. Sorry, maybe wrong guy.
He is Indigenous. Very good. And he'll do the Welcome to Country on Saturday. Fantastic. Okay. That's passed. Now, the first speaker would be Steve Keen, the economist. Steve Keen. We didn't vote on him. We haven't voted on anything. Consensus, please. Stand asides. Blocks. That's a consensus. The Unionists, Mark Lennon and Warren Smith. Or, all right, one of those two people. Okay. So Mark Lennon is the New South Wales Labor Council Secretary. Okay. And Warren Smith is the MUA National Assistant. Yes? Point of clarification. Okay, that's just an opinion. That's a fact. The fact is that the MUA are fabulous speakers. What do you say? Should we have one of the two? There's the New South Wales Union and the MUA speaker, Warren Smith. And Paul Mackley. Okay, so there are three.
Let's just invite the MUA. Why don't we just invite a speaker from the MUA?
We've suggested three people. The first one being the Mark Lennon, who works for the New South Wales Labor. And so, consensus, please. Stand asides. Blocks. Please stand up.
I'm not blocking the actual union. I just want some gender equality. So I'm hearing a lot of men that are going to be speakers. So I think that we need some women speakers. I don't want 3 men in a row.
There's not 3 men in a row. There's one of the three. It'll be just one of the three.
We actually did discuss that in the working group. It's just the way that they've appeared on the board. Like we looked at that issue and wanted to make sure that there was at least half the speakers were women. So I think this is not any kind of order or anything like that. It's just a random list. Like, presumably we'll have to get the MCs to pick the order or whatever.
Point of clarification.
Are we deciding whether we will have 3 speakers or are we trying to choose 1 from 3?
We're trying to choose one from 3 different speakers.
With respect to the General Assembly process, I don't think we probably have enough information to do that.
The issue is like we
don't know who they are. How can we choose?
I just propose that the key is for the General Assembly to endorse as much as possible. I think if the General Assembly endorses that we have a union speaker, which will be one of those 3, that's what we should endorse. And we can do that by consensus. And then the working group can clarify the exact one, whether it's Mark Lennon, the loud MUA speaker. So that would be my proposal.
Okay, let's have them.
Which one of the 3? So lucky to be worked out by the working group tomorrow. Do we have consensus on that? Yes. Any any stand asides? Blocks? Okay, that's passed. Good. So the working group tomorrow, when will you be meeting? Oh well, to be announced, right? Alright, so it's the basis on who's available. It's alright. You're doing great. You're doing a great job. Excellent. Very good.
Workshop 9 o'clock.
Workshop. The workshop for.
We're up at 6. People have to go to work and stuff. 9, 10.
Tim.
Inside work group. Writing a statement and then collecting the material about the corporate bodies we're going to talk about.
We haven't voted about this statement.
Can we vote about that
Okay, so that's actually been deferred to a working group tomorrow, because we actually haven't got confirmation as to whether or not those people are actually available to speak yet. We'd like to have them, but the Spain eyewitness, Elena and or Alex. The working group, please like to explain who those 2 people are. Who's Elena, the Spain.
I don't know if Elena is here, but Elena Ortega was in Spain, from Spanish background, and was in Spain for some of the big mobilizations earlier this year, and she is very happy to speak. And Alejandro, everyone would hopefully know here, and they're both happy to speak, but I think also there might be a workshop happening afterwards. But I think one of them, or maybe both of them, could go up together, but maybe Elena could speak a little bit more because we want to get the gender equality going. But the one thing is that she's actually coming from work, going to be a little bit late, so she might speak. Anyway, we can work that out. But
I'm happy to work with Elena, obviously, so she can speak herself, no problem on that. Just be there to support if she's late or something, so if we are running out of time, I'll be happy to address the Spanish mobilization and the starting of the occupation there myself. We will do a workshop together before.
The proposal is for Elena Ortega to speak. Consensus? Stand asides? Blocks? Alright, consensus. The next is Jim Casey from the FBEU, the Fire Brigades. Fire Brigades Union. Consensus, please. Is someone from the Fire Brigade Union is going to talk about unionism in general? Yes? For a clarification, please.
I'm not sure who proposed it. I think Jim would be a great speaker, but we wanted to keep it reasonably tight. We've already endorsed a union speaker, but I think maybe we could have Jim on the corporate pirates, anti-corporate pirates tour, particularly if we go to Parliament. He could talk about the attacks that the public sector attacks that are going down. So he doesn't necessarily have to be part of this sort of lead speaking group. That would be my suggestion.
Consensus? Yes. Stand asides? Stand asides? Blocks? That's the consensus. Awesome. Alright, the MCS from occupation. What does that mean? What's the MCS stand for? MCS from occupation. Oh, the MCs. Oh, the sponsor the whole thing. The ones who apparently run this show. Should we have a chat to them? Do you MCs want to? Do we want MCs to talk? Speak. Consensus, please. We don't know who they are. MCs? Tim and Susan. New stars. You rock and rollers. Make sure you do your hair on the day. Okay. Point of clarification, please. Yes.
This is a leaderless movement, and there's a lot of people being seen and talking at these meetings the most. I would like to think that MCs who are other people wouldn't be me. I would other people I know give me a lot. If they're confident to be able to say it. Just ask for volunteers. Yeah, ask for volunteers for what I would say.
Alright. So, Tim and Susan are no longer our stars. Sorry, kids. But we need to, well, basically, who would like to speak at this week's rally on Saturday? MC, oh sorry, MC, yeah, I can do that, you know, I'm pretty good at this stuff. Oh well, if we're going to have a rally every week, you know, pretty much all of you guys are going to have a turn at being a star, you know, or something like that. Who wants to do it? I'd like to do it, I can do it. Point of clarification.
Yeah, look, I have every confidence in Tim and Susan. I've seen Tim facilitate a rally, like just met him in Occupy, and I think he's a person of the poor, he's a person of the people. You know, he doesn't like the 1%. He stands up for the 99%. He speaks his mind. So let's have him.
clarification. That is actually not a point of clarification, that is an opinion. Point of clarification down here, yes? There's another opinion. Okay, no, we're not having a speakers list on this thing. All right, all we're going to do is going to point of clarification.
I think that the purpose of the MC in the rally, we have to be practical about it. So the purpose of the MCs in the rally has to be people that are staying here at night so that they can transmit the experience of the guys that are staying here every night. All right. So please, if anyone else wants to volunteer for MC, we can vote for the people. But the suggestions made before were Tim and Susan. So if there's any other volunteer staying in the camp at night, do we have consensus that?
You sit down. Very good, very nice. Okay. All right. All we're doing is we just want to pick two people who would like to be volunteers for emceeing this weekend. Tim and Susan, consensus, please. Blocks. Yes, block.
And here.
Sorry, it's just a matter of process. There's been 3 suggestions, 3 names, Tim, Susan and Ruby. And so perhaps I could put a counter proposal that there would be 3 MCs consisting of those 3 people.
Awesome! I want to be a star on Saturday. Yay. Okay, so 3. Point of clarification, Tim.
So the MCs aren't speaking on behalf of anybody. We're reading out a statement that we make in the working group tomorrow and simply introducing speakers.
That's right, and being charming, and you also have to be able to tell jokes, my friend. You gotta be funny, and I don't want to see no growth on your face in the morning or any bleary red eye. You know what I'm talking about? Very good, very good. Thank you for pointing this. Point of clarification.
Well, I think we've got our comedian here as well. But I think there's a little bit extra because I think that we decided in the working group, we said maybe we shouldn't have we couldn't have one Occupy Sydney speaker because one person could represent the group completely. But I think between the 3 of you, I think getting across the experience of Occupy and inviting people, that's got to come through the whole way through. So I think that would be part of the statement, but I think in between as well, some of the stories, some of the anecdotes of the people who have come by and given support, I think is amazing.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have to re-vote now. There's 3 of us.
Are you volunteering, Lance?
No, sorry. The 3 people with their hands up, why don't you all do it?
Yeah, that's what the suggestion was. Okay, 3 people, we're all doing it. Consensus. Okay, and what was the other one? Stand asides, blocks. Oh, block. Yes.
I'm just blocking simply because I'm also mindful of representation of people of colour. So I'm not a white person. There are many people here that aren't white, and we also need them to be visible.
Thank you very much. May I say that I'm actually not white either.
So addressing that as well, I was blocking because I thought that we're a movement of people who are all having a voice, and a good way to show the public that might be that if there are a number of invited speakers coming to speak, in between every speaker, a different person comes up and MCs and introduces, and we just have a bunch of people. Like, pick a crowd of 6 of them or something, whatever.
Not because I want to be there, but simply because we want this rally to move smoothly and without too much disruption. We have 3 speakers who know
3 speakers. They're not necessarily facilitated. We're just introducing our MCs, you know. We tell the jokes. The Master of Ceremonies. We have 3. Consensus? Point of clarification. Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to affirm something Ruby said or indicated briefly. It's really important to assume that people, not to assume that people have a certain privilege, and not to make assumptions about who or who isn't a person of colour, or something like that.
Thanks for that. Thank you. That's quite a big mistake. That's quite a yes.
Yeah, I just want to say again, we are going to have rallies every weekend, so as more people are getting used to the process, I'm one person that couldn't do what you do, for example. Each and every one of us has our own strengths, so if there are some people that are comfortable with doing it and volunteering, then we should let them. And as the weeks go by, when we're all getting more involved and learning from the process, maybe other people want to put up their hands, and this is going on indefinitely, so we're going to all have a chance to do it if you want to, so let's just stick with those three for now.
Awesome. Does that address your block? Are you satisfied with that?
I want to apologise. So I also acknowledge that, but I mean I am also aware that I've learned over the decades that I have to speak up. So I do realise that sometimes I will offend, but on the just in case that they aren't people of colour, that's why I'm speaking up. But I do apologise if I have offended anybody.
Thank you very much. Apologies accepted. Very nice. All right, now the last and final vote. 3 of us, MCs. Lovely. Any stand asides? Blocks? That was an excellent debate, by the way. I really enjoyed that. Very good. Now, on the environmental level, we also have another speaker, a coal seam gas speaker. I don't think there's anyone actually nominated for that yet, are they? Yes? What's the suggestion?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit on the working group. There's a woman, Jess Moore, who's one of the leaders of the Stop Coal Seam Gas Illawarra group, which had 3,000 people march across the bridge in Illawarra about a week ago while there was the coal seam gas rally down here. And also, this is also was thinking through gender balance in the rally as well. So she's willing to do that. I think she would also cover though all the environmental, try and cover the crimes of the 1%, because the 1% commit so many environmental crimes and are the real danger to our planet. So,
And also some regional.
and that brings in a bit of a regional angle as well. You can invite other people from the Illawarra.
Okay, that is Marie or
Should we talk about welfare rights? We need to agree on Marie. The coal seam gas environment, but we don't actually have a speaker for that.
Just more is my proposal.
Just more. Consensus, please. Stand asides. Blocks. That's a consensus here. Now, Marie O'Halloran, she'll be talking about welfare rights and networking.
Hello?
She's from the Welfare Rights and Network. She's from the Welfare... I'm sorry, I can't read that very well. Welfare Rights Network.
Yeah, when the meeting finishes, I'll tell you.
Okay, so Marie O'Halloran. She's a good speaker? You don't know? You think so? Okay. Consensus, please. Do we have enough information? Yes, a little bit more information would be lovely.
Sorry, that sounded like we didn't have any. I mean, I think it was someone else who proposed her, but she's actually the former president, I believe, of the Teachers Federation. But the Welfare Rights Centre or Network really represents, you know, the bottom 10%, 20%, the people who are really struggling in so many ways on welfare and that have been really whacked over the head in so many ways by governments and by corporations and thrown on the scrap heap while the 1% get their bailouts and their golden handshake. So I think in that sense, I think she would be very good. I've never personally heard her speak, but I think she represents, you know, something that would help get across our message.
Point of clarification, please, by Susan.
Yeah, look, I understand actually that Marie's not going to be in Sydney on Saturday. What I was going to suggest is if we still want to go with having a speaker from the welfare sector, that a couple of other options that could be explored would be Cassandra Goldie, who's the head of ACOS, Australian Council of Social Services. And the other person is Alison Peters, who is the New South Wales Council of Social Services. So they're just a couple of alternate suggestions.
Do we want one? Point of clarification, yes. That's a good point. We have 5 speakers already, and they have to fill up an hour. And we need the economics fellow, apparently. Do we? Okay, so the point has been moved. Do we want to save some of these people for next week? Specifically the welfare rights workers? Yeah. Consensus, please. Stand aside. Blocks. Okay, that's passed. Okay, so we're leaving the welfare rights for later. Nikki has come and put 2 people who will speak on the Syrian community. Yes. Nikki, would you like to come up here, please? Khalid and Ali.
Khalid is a progressive Syrian activist. He is a teacher, and Ali is a great Lebanese writer, and I can introduce them. I think it's very important to give them voice, to encourage more communities to join the movement. Thank you. First they will appreciate the solidarity to the Occupy Sydney, and and then they will talk about the situation in Middle East and in their country, in Syria, what is happening, all about the bloodshed on the street in Syria, because there are so many bloods on the street, and unfortunately, during all these months that I have supported them, and I started to give them advice how to start the to start their movement here, and rallies and organizing things. They haven't been supported by any progressive movement, by any socialist group in this country. They have been left alone, and I think it's the best opportunity to start solidarity, to show solidarity with this brave nation. Yes.
Okay. You want to come up on the mic and say it nice and loud? No? Point of clarification here, or is this an opinion? Oh, you have been supportive. Oh, it was a nice thing to say you wanted to say. Oh, thank you very much. All right. So, Khalid and Ali, who will talk about the Syrian community and Syrian occupation. Consensus, please. Point of clarification. Did we...
Just that, I think, one is if there's going to be one speaker or 2 speakers, but I think it's going to be hard to get every issue and every country's struggles into this, obviously. And one of the things we said in the working group was that we wanted to, have the space after the rally to have sort of workshops that people can actually have the time and form circles and have the discussion out as best as possible. So, it's up to the meeting really, but there might be some of these things that might be very worthy, but whether they, we can't necessarily have every international struggle and issue. I think in some ways Eleanor will need to give a bit of the international flavour when she talks from Spain and everything to Wall Street, and it might be better to do some of the stuff in a workshop to actually have out some of the discussions more richly. It's a suggestion.
would you? It is an opinion. Can you please make sure that it is a point of clarification and not opinions, because I will get stroppy with you and I'll talk to you later. Yes. All right then. We like Khalid and Ali to come and speak. Consensus on that? Not necessarily on Saturday. We are deciding on Saturday. Okay. Yes, point of clarification. Do you have a question?
We had agreed before. She made a blog. You made a blog on certain speakers, because you wanted some speakers to represent I don't remember all the cultural backgrounds, but some specific cultural background. People of Hala. And we agreed. Well, she had this blog, but apparently the blog didn't.
Can you please speak up?
Sorry, the blog didn't block the consensus in the end, because she sort of apologized or something. So right now we are talking about including again other speaker of another community. In this case, the Syrian community struggle, all right, in the speaking list. So what's the criteria to exclude her speaker in behalf of her speaker?
Point of clarification.
I just have a question for you, Nikki. Are you proposing we have 2 extra speakers? Or, because I was going to ask, could we just have one of them for this one, and then we could invite another time, because otherwise we jump from 5 speakers to 7, we're just going to mess with our times.
The Syrian community, the majority of them are very poor people, that they didn't have any chance to even to learn English. And I thought 5 minutes for those that they can't understand English very well to speak in Arabic, and 5 minutes for those that they understand, for all of us, that to be in English. This is what I thought. I mean, it's up to you. And I think it is very important to respect the people that they have been discriminated and they have been pushed to a corner in Sydney. They all have been pushed in the Lake Emba, and they have been separated from the other part of the people in this country, and they never had any chance to communicate with other people, with other Australians. And this is, I think, very important to give them a chance to talk, and to give them as a beginning of starting a connection between them and between Australia.
Okay, so the point's argued. Do we still have those points of clarifications you'd like to ask? No? Anyone? And you, sir? Mr. Greenscarf? No? No? You don't want to anymore. Okay. Another point of clarification? Anyone? Yes? Yep. Be tardy now.
I'm just a little bit concerned that we have deferred those who would represent the lowest 10% in our society in general, and we are also focusing on quite specific groups. I think the lowest 10% should actually be quite a high priority. That's my feeling.
Thank you. Next person. Yes. Gold lame jacket. That is fabulous.
Yeah, I think it's very important what she said. You know, there are communities that are just separated from the English-speaking communities, and they should really find here a space to express themselves. The thing that I wanted to ask though, like these speakers, are they religious or secular? They're secular.
Thank you very much for that. Any other points of clarification on these two speakers? Yes, ma'am. No, it's not a comment. That was a point. A question is actually a point of clarification. You ask a question.
But I should tell you that the people that they will come here, maybe most of them they believe in Islam, and I think that shouldn't be any problem. Because me personally, I am from a Muslim background, even that I do not believe in religion, but I strongly support all Muslim in Middle East that they are fighting really with empty hand, and they have no support from anywhere. I think we should support them strongly. Doesn't matter if they believe in Islam or not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laspreet and Nikki. Okay, can we get everyone satisfied with that and knows thoroughly that these two speakers on Saturday, 5 minutes each, point of clarification?
Excuse me.
This has to be a question, yes?
Are we voting on people that we're going to guarantee time to speak? I assume that we're going to be speaking all day, and anyone who wants to speak can speak. Are we voting on people that we're going to guarantee time to speak because we should be speaking all day, and anyone that disagrees can get up and speak as well? Or are we just a limited time that we have for speaking that we're voting on?
On these two guest speakers.
Not at this stage, it's an hour of
I'll talk about that later. Yeah. Assume we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk, but we won't ask for
having a rally and then a party.
Very good. Now everyone, keep your panties on, everyone. Very good. Khalid and Ali, can we have a consensus, please, on whether or not they want to speak on Saturday? Consensus, please. All right. Stand asides. Blocks. Block.
You know that I sympathise a lot, but we had a list of 11 and we got down to 5 or 6, and we've got the bottom 10% needs to be looked after. They haven't had a voice, we've got gay and lesbian haven't had a voice. They did get a chance to come here and speak there because the wider show was in December. So I don't know, there. So speaking, I think, why can't we just invite them to this, have working groups who are going to take it and discuss and communicate, not just speak up, we can communicate. That's the best possible way to get our voices heard, I think, personally. So.
Yeah, I think that will be the
Would they like that?
I think that will be the start of the connection.
Okay.
I think that will be the first step of the connection. Imagine that they have been for so many years, for over 100 years, they have been isolated, totally isolated. If you go to Auburn, if you go to Lake Kemba, they are just totally disconnected from other part of Sydney, and I think it's. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I support all kind of lesbian, gays, or homosexual, or homeless. Yes, of course. There shouldn't be any discrimination.
Microphone. Is this a private conversation?
Because we've had a short list, it's just going to drag on. I don't understand why we can't have that as an international feedback thing for next week. We've already... Yeah.
But can I just ask, how long is each speaker speaking for?
5 minutes each.
5 minutes.
But also, we've got to remember that these applications, you need the world application, international, yes.
Yes.
So you need to have people on stage that represent other countries. It's not just about Sydney, okay? It's a national event, whatever it's like. And Sydney is an international city with all sorts of people living here.
So the homeless shouldn't get a voice of themselves?
No, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that it's a national event. We have an opportunity to have people that represent us internationally.
Point of clarification?
As far as I'm concerned, the procedure of the General Assembly is if we try to pass a proposal and there is no consensus and there is several blocks, that goes to a working group.
We don't have a speaking list, Bernie. Is this a point of clarification?
I just got here, but I just want to know if you have any homeless speakers.
We don't have homeless speakers and we don't have anyone representing the gay and lesbian groups either.
You presume.
All the disabled.
That doesn't mean that we never will.
But that doesn't mean that we never will. They're just picking favourites. Okay. All right, I said we're proposing that this goes to a working group for further discussion, consensus.
There are many more rallies.
I think we should clarify now.
No,
It's just that
there was a suggestion that.
This is quite an important issue. Yeah, it's not a
No, it's a minor issue in the sense that it's simply solvable. You know, like we don't have any propositions for the gay and lesbian community, and we have someone from the Syrian community. Why don't we just accept it? And next week we have someone from the gay and lesbian community. You know, we don't need to discuss over and over again.
Okay, all right. I think that there are a few people who might like to speak about this. Do you want to have a speaking list open about this particular, the quality of the speakers? I would, how many? No, that's not a consensus. Sorry.
Just regarding homeless speaker, I think Matthew have been one of the permanent member of this movement from the first night up to now, and he can be as a representative of them to talk for us. It's very important to have a voice of homeless people here as well, because the majority of them, I suggest Matthew.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, but this is a really important issue and needs to go to a workshop. Only because we could probably be here most of the night debating as to who gets the benefit of actually speaking on Saturday. I think it deserves some consideration. Consensus, please, on a workshop tomorrow. Thank you. 10 a.m. Stand aside. Just these speakers, and very good explanation maybe why it is that you have actually just spoken with certain types of speakers and not a whole range from the community would be very good. Very good. And to close this issue, okay, I haven't actually finished this yet. So stand aside? No? Blocks? No. Okay, that's a consensus. We have a workshop. Very good. Okay, so now we're just going to run through the names that are definitely confirmed. We have Okay, so we're running through the list here. So we have an Indigenous welcome. It's Shane and Mark. There's Steve Keane, who's the economist, a unionist by Mark Lennon. Sorry, there's a work group for the unionist Mark Lennon and Warren Smith. We have a Spain eyewitness, Elena and Alex. Jim Casey from the FBEU. MCs will be Ruby, Tim and Susan. the enviro side of it is a coal seam gas and will be announced. And that's, I'm going to close that for discussion. Okay? Want a clarification? Oh, Jess Moore. That's right. Jess Moore was approved for the coal seam gas. Very good.
She's not here.
Well, that's right. She's actually not here this Saturday. She's out of town, so we need someone else. Oh, that was Maria. Oh, that's right. Right. Different person. They all wear ears. Very good.
Just one clarification regarding the rally. There were some proposals made earlier here. First of all, young guy from a school proposed a youth forum. I would suggest that to move it to a work group during the rally. There's also, Jono said about the Robin Hood tax, and we should address that during the rally. I don't know if we should move that again to a workshop. Then there's the Scumbag Tour workshop. There was a lot of controversy with the Scumbag Tour, with its name, with who's going to direct the people, and if it's weekly or not. So at what time is the Scumbag workshop tomorrow? That's very important. Well, all right.
10 a.m. workshop. Very good. We're actually addressing the issues of the rest of the rally at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Sorry?
We had a person who can't get there at 10. We start at 9. It's going to go on for longer than a couple of hours. It starts at 9. Keeps going.
Very good. And Tim's buying lattes.
I'll buy lattes.
Very good.
Without donation.
Without donation. No with donation. Hey! Okay, next. Very good. What is the explanation? Very good. We have an announcement. Okay, that's fine. I can explore it. But did you want to make that announcement?
Very quickly, while we're thinking, if you can't make the working group tomorrow at 9 o'clock and you want to put a list forward of things you want to discuss in the statement on behalf of Occupy, write it down, email it, get it to us. We'll take it to the working group. Everybody's ideas are welcome. So either give it to me on a piece of paper or email it to
Can you say the email address?
Come to me, I'll give you my email address.
Okay,
Thank you very much. We don't actually have a lot more time to go through the rest of the topics today, but the most important pressing issue would be about the police liaisons.
sorry, I just wanted to quickly, we don't need to come to consensus with this. I don't think people have already talked a lot about police. People have already talked a lot about police. I just wanted to say, because from watching the police liaison today, just for people who are taking on the role of being police liaison, and hopefully that can be rotated around a lot, just to remember that the role is communicating, not deciding. So when you're talking to the police, ask them what's going on, what's the situation, and then present that back to other people before you then tell the police what we've decided to do. So don't just go and talk to the police and decide on your own, because that's not very democratic. It's not a motion.
And always cameras!
Always have cameras.
It was just advice, a little message. What about the what? You wanted to talk about the procedure?
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying cameras, and you don't. Well, that should happen always. That was the consensus yesterday.
All right. We're rolling on, going on. Next one. And then we're talking about there's a little announcement now.
I'll say it and you work out. Okay, I'm not sure if this is a proposal or not. I'll let Ruby decide afterwards.
Thanks for facilitating, Ruby. I just wanted to... Sorry, I just wanted to say that sleep is really important, that for the sustainability of this camp and for our health, we need to be able to sleep. And at the moment, sometimes that's been a bit difficult in the mornings. I've been woken up every morning, often before 6 o'clock, by people I don't know, like touching me and like telling me I have to get up and telling me I'm selfish because I haven't got out of bed yet. And I think that's happened to other people as well. And I think sleep is not lazy, it's actually really important. And that I know the police are hassling people, and I know the police have been really difficult for other people to deal with, but I was just trying to make some kind of suggestion about letting people have an area in which they can stay sleeping, and that people can nap during the day if they need. And yeah, maybe this is a proposal that we have a designated sleeping area in which people are allowed to remain asleep, and that's important.